Buying a home in today's market can feel overwhelming, but the right lender can make all the difference. Hi, I'm Leslie Martin with River Oaks Realty, and today I'm joined by Vincent Newsome, a home loan advisor, to talk about how buyers can truly succeed in today's market. I first connected with Vincent through a mutual client, and what stood out to me right away was his white glove concierge style approach, the same type of service I strive to provide to my clients. Since then, we've worked on several deals together, and every time it's the same experience: clear communication, fast and accurate document turnaround, and an extra level of support that goes beyond the norm. Even when I'm on the listing side, Vincent shares insights on offers from a financial perspective, something he doesn't have to do, but he chooses to because he cares about people getting the right outcome. And for buyers, his upfront financial breakdowns before we even step inside a home are a game changer. Knowing what your monthly payments could look like, including taxes for year 1 and 2, makes the decision so much clearer and less stressful. So let's dive in. Vincent, why don't you join us?
Thanks for having me, Leslie.
Oh, my pleasure. Vincent, tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I've been in the business about 15 years. I worked at a big box lender. And at that point, we were more towards we worked in a private wealth financial consulting group. So we solicited more towards financial consultants to help them bring clients to us to help on their pre-approvals and their refinances. I now work more locally, where instead of financial consultants, we work towards real estate agents, and we build relationships locally in the area with their clients to help get their approvals and their refinances completed.
Lovely. So what are some things right now a buyer can do to make their offer stand out?
Awesome question. One we do get a lot. One thing that we do want to make sure always is we are anticipating a quick close, not only for the buyer, but also for the seller. That gives them confidence that they're going to get their money regardless of when the actual close date is going to be. Second thing is the pre-approval process. When we do call the listing agent, that is a tremendous way that the listing agents are comfortable not only working with your buyer, but also with us, since at that point, it's not just us as a team, we also bring the listing agent in as part of our team. Third thing is our reputation. We are a local lender. Now, you hear people talk about local lenders a lot. There's big box lenders and local lenders. Local lenders is we're small. We're a 3-person show, which means that we have a reputation to uphold in this Metro Detroit area. Listing agents do know us, and in that case, they know that we're going to close a loan. In the 3-4 years I've been with my partner now at National Mortgage Funding, I have never sent out a pre-approval that did not close because of financing, and that does say a lot.
Yeah, no, and I agree. And I think on the side where our relationship is, making sure, we can hit that 24-day close, which is really appealing to sellers, putting in the clauses for appraisal guarantees or an escalation clause. Obviously I never give guidance about not having an inspection, but that's a conversation we're having. So those are things together that we talk about before we even submit an offer with our clients. So everyone's on the same page. Can you share a time when maybe you had a deal that was falling apart, but as a team you were able to bring it together and end up at the closing table?
Yeah, of course. One recently, actually, we had a client that came to us that was actually pre-approved through a big box lender. So ones that you see on TV and online. And they were pre-approved. They got the purchase agreement signed, and they were starting the process and realized that pre-approval actually wasn't as true as it was. That agent reached out to me to see if I could take a second pair of eyes to see if we could save the deal before they had to just squash it all together. And we looked at it. Did have to do some finagling. We worked on an FHA program. We were able to find that we were able to put a co-borrower on that was going to be living with her at the time. We set that all up, and we actually had to clear to close under 20 days. So not only did we save the deal, but we also met the original contract date.
Yeah, that's awesome. So that was a great example about how an agent reached out to you for a second set of eyes, which leads me to how important is the agent-lender relationship?
Oh, it's everything in this process. When you're working with an agent that has a relationship with a loan originator, you have basically a team model together, right? So anytime that the agent is looking at something that possibly that you, the buyer, is looking at maybe buying, we all work together in communication to make sure that that house not only fits your needs on a personal level with the real estate agent and a financial level on my side of things. Now, that also comes into play with offers. So when you were working as a team together, I'm going to be your quote unquote preferred lender. When you tell that to a listing agent, they know that I'm not some Joe Schmo on the street, that you know how I work, I know how you work, and that makes the deal run a lot smoother, which gives them confidence to accept their deal. So a relationship between a loan originator and a real estate agent is very crucial when you're looking at buying a house.
Yeah, and I agree. I've had many relationships in the past with different lenders, but to me, the communication, being available, we are online a majority of the day, early in the morning, late at night, and to be able to have that comfortable relationship to text, to reach out, to email. Not always like a sense of urgency, but a sense of pride in our work and putting the client first is a big deal. So, and I appreciate that relationship with you.
Definitely.
Yes. So let's talk about the loan process. What do buyers need to know?
Great question. One we often get a lot as well. When you're talking about the process, this is, again, a team effort. Leslie will start out the process by talking to you about what you're looking at buying. We'll get a good range on the pre-approval amount that you do need. She sends it back over to me. When I get your file, we'll start going through the basics. We go through a credit report, we go through your assets, we'll go through your income, make sure everything is lined up for the house that you are potentially looking at purchasing. Once we have that number in mind and we go over some scenarios, I will then send you back over to Leslie, who then will hit the pavement running and look for homes. Once she finds a home that you like, she'll bring it back over to me. At that point, we'll run some estimated property taxes on what they currently will be, what they will be next year, what they'll be possibly in 2 years from now. Make sure you're comfortable with that payment. Once everyone's on board, then everything makes sense, not only lifestyle-wise for the home itself, but financially-wise for you. I'll send it back over to Leslie to put the offer in. Once the offer gets accepted, I then come back into the picture. And at that point, we start going through the underwrite. That's when I'm going to really start grilling for documents. So we're going to get all of your supporting paperwork, make sure everything looks good. If I haven't already gotten that, most of the time when we're talking on the initial pre-approval side, I usually request that anyways to make sure everything looks good. Once the underwriting process starts happening and we have a conditional approval, which means that the underwriter has looked at your initial documentation and everything that they saw that we had is in line for what they wanted, really it's going to be a no news is good news. Once we get it clear to close, you'll get a happy text message via phone call from me stating we're clear to close. I send it back over to Leslie. At that point, Leslie will go ahead and start scheduling the closing with the title company. And then I get put back into the picture. We balance your numbers. We make sure that we have the exact cash to close that you'll need. I go over your closing disclosure, which is a descriptive documentation showing all of your numbers in line. Make sure that you don't have any questions. You know how much you're bringing to close that day. Then you own a house.
Yeah, and I think that's a great process. So there's lots of communication over, those 3 to 4 weeks. You're in constant contact between myself, the client. We're always talking. And then once we have closing, it's kind of like poof, it's done.
Done.
So that's a success. So let's talk about common buyer mistakes and how to avoid them.
Definitely. When you're buying a house, one thing you do want to avoid is making large purchases that will affect how I pre-approved you. Also, opening up new financial debt. What that means, buying a car, opening up a new credit card, opening up a personal line of credit, giving your aunt $50,000. Things like that, we want to make sure that we're looking at prior to you doing it. When I pre-approve you, I pre-approve you based on a template that we're using, and we want to keep that as similar as possible while we're in process. Now, one of the big things that I do see that is also something that we should talk about when you're first buying a house is down payment. So when you're looking at down payment options, you have a few options. You can do 20% down, you can do 3% down. Most of your family members who maybe purchased a home 20, 30 years ago will say you need to put 20% down. Back then, they're correct. Mortgage insurance was more expensive. Now, it's a lot cheaper rates out there, especially with where market rates are. It does make sometimes more sense to do less down. When you do less down, you do have a lower PMI, or you have a low PMI factor that comes into play, where you can actually save some of that cash to have it make more money on the market, maybe, depending on how all of that shakes out. And that's something that I will look at with you and we'll have a conversation about.
Yeah, and I think that the coaching that offers between the lender, the agent, and the client, talking about what it looks like, because we've had deals where we are throughout the process changing that down payment depending on where we're at, and the offer price, what's accepted, and it could be totally different once we get to the closing table.
Definitely.
So great. So the last topic I'd like to discuss is the physician loan. My client base is very much clinician-based, and that's something that you offer, which is new to me. So if we can talk about the physician loan.
Absolutely. We offer everything from conventional, FHA, VA. The physician loan, I even like to call it a medical field loan, is one of our most popular, especially in the Metro Detroit area. What that is you can qualify from being a physician to a PA to an RN. So it's a very wide range of medical field occupations that does cover. One great thing about that is you can do 0% down, which is amazing. With 0% down, no PMI. So that is a huge factor in a lot of cases with our clients. What that allows them to do is not only keep some of their cash up front if they want to, or they have the ability to maybe even do less than 20%. Maybe you want to do 10% down, but you still will not have a PMI factor if you qualify in that result.
Oh, and that's amazing. So, Vincent, thanks so much for joining us today. Thank you for giving so much knowledge to the buyers of the Metro Detroit area. If they wanted to reach out to you, where can they find you?
Thank you for having me. You can find me on all socials, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, but you also call me 248-388-5528, or you can also send me an email, vincentnewsome@nmfunding.com.
Great. All right. Thanks again. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Bye. I hope you found this conversation with Vincent Newsome as helpful as I did. Having the right lender in your corner really can make all the difference when it comes to buying a home in today's market. If you're thinking about making the move here in the Metro Detroit area and want guidance through the process from financing to finding the perfect home, I'd love to help you. You can email me at leslie@leslieemartin.com or connect with me on Instagram at leslieemartindtw. I'm Leslie Martin with River Oaks Realty, and I look forward to helping you make your next move.